It is 9 o'clock. Before we get started, we have Brother Joe Givens. Sir, if you would, please lead us in the invocations, and Commissioner McCann, if you would, the pledge.
Heavenly Father, we come again giving you thanks and giving you praise because you're worthy and deserving. Thank you for your great love, grace, and mercy, O Lord. Look upon the court today in a special way. Grant the judge, commissioners, and all that make this court function the wisdom and knowledge to do those things that are best for every citizen of this county. Continue to let your blessings flow upon us. Keep the first responders, the sheriff's department, all law enforcement safe during this treacherous time in which we now live. Keep your people protected. In Jesus' mighty name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
Thank you, Mr. Givens. All right. Well, the time is 9:01. I want to welcome everyone to Commissioner's Court. We do have a quorum, so we will call this meeting to order. Do we have any citizens' comments?
No, sir.
No citizens' comments? So item 1 is consider and take action on minutes from previously held meeting of Commissioners Court on September the 14th, 2021. Are there any additions, deletions, or comments to the minutes?
Hearing none, Judge, I move we approve the minutes for the previously held Commissioners Court meeting on September 14th, 2021, as presented.
I'll second his motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Tooley, second by Commissioner Spivey, to approve the minutes of Commissioners Court on September the 14th, 2021, as presented. All those in favor of the motion? Item passes. Item 2, consider and take action on the notice and order of a special runoff election to be held on September 28th, 2021 for Texas State House Representative District Number 10. We have Ms. Ludke with us today. How are you, madam?
Pretty good, how are you?
We are well. What you got for us?
We have our runoff that's scheduled for next week. We're currently early voting. This was kind of a squeezed timeline, so Governor gave us warning last week of all our deadlines. So I bring to you today the order and the notice for the election so we can make our proper postings.
Okay. And we've got a location for our early voting in the area.
We're early voting over in Jewel. It's kind of a centralized location. That's all week this week, and then our 4 locations will be open in those precincts that are affected by District 10.
Okay. Questions, comments, court? Well, hearing none, that's affecting which 4 boxes?
Trinidad, Malakoff, Tool, and 7 points.
Okay. Well, if there's no other questions or comments, we'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion to accept the notice of order of special runoff election to be held September 28, 2021 for House Representative District 10.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Spivey, second by Commissioner Richardson, to approve the notice and order of special runoff election to be held on September the 28th, 2021 for Texas State House Representative District Number 10. All those in favor of the motion? Item passes. Thank you, ma'am. Item 3. Consider and take action on State Attorney General Case Registry Cooperative Agreement. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing well. What you got for us?
What it is, it's a contract the Attorney General is wanting us to sign, and it's for the 40 billing. And we bill out every month to the Attorney General, and we get monies back. It usually totals about $35,000 to $40,000 a year that we get back when we put into we transfer it all to the Treasurer's Department. But what we do is we bill them for anything like warrants, new cases we get a percentage of, and all of the cases that we issue and all of the motions to modify.
Okay.
And it does allow them to come in and audit us whenever they want. But if we go with it, we can continue to get money from them.
Questions from the court?
This is a 5-year contract.
Yes, sir. It used to be a 1 year, but now they've gone to 5.
And this is in conjunction with child support?
Yes, sir. What it is the Attorney General with the Child Support Division.
Okay.
And they have their own judge, and they do it out at the Civic Center.
Mhm.
But we do all of the lead part for them as far as issuing anything we need to issue.
There you go. All right.
Does it need a signature?
That's what I was working down to. It's quite a lengthy contract. Pardon? On page 27. Okay. Well, it looks like we will need a motion to approve with the judge's authorization to sign, if there are no further comments.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner McCam, second by Commissioner Tooley, to approve the State Attorney General Case Registry Cooperative Agreement with the county judge's authorization to sign. All those in favor of the motion? Item passes. Thank you very much. Item 4, consider and take action on contract amendment with Southern Health Partners for inmate health care at the Henderson County Jail. Sheriff.
Morning, Court. This is, every year, we basically renew our contract with Southern Health Partners. Sometimes it stays flat, sometimes it does not. This year, there is an increase to it. But in the original contract, it states that every year they can go up by 3%. They're not doing that this year. However, they are asking to add another nurse. And we talked about this during the budget process and the workshops. The money is there for 2022 budget. And they'll give us another 40-hour LVN inside the facility to work. It'll be an 8 to 5 position. And they will be help doing sick calls and help doing getting all the meds packaged and ready. They're struggling over there right now because our inmate count is over 400 average. Been 407 so far today. And this is basically the standard agreement. I did send it to the county attorney. Clint Davis. He looked over the agreement because it's lengthier this year than it usually is, but they added some COVID verbiage and stuff like that in there. But he was good with the analysis of problems.
Questions?
Have they gone up 3% on us in the past?
A couple of times. A couple of times they had one on 3%. Sometimes the contracts stay flat, and sometimes we add a position here or there. And some of the dim rates we've been able to go down. I think the dim rate started at like $1.60 if you went over 350 inmates in the population. Now we've got that down to $1.25. So I mean, they do work with us.
How many nurses will this give you?
We've got a supervisor and then 4 other nurses, and so this will be 5 total. The contract will start October 16th, but they've already got a nurse picked. If the court does decide to go with this, and they will start October 1st, but the contract going into effect on the 16th.
And this is a 1 year?
1 year.
1 year agreement?
Back every year, yes, sir.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? And Sheriff, is this your signature?
The judge, it'll be yours if you don't mind.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? Entertain a motion.
So move with judge's authorization to sign.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Tooley, second by Commissioner Richardson, to approve the contract amendment with Southern Health Partners for inmate health care at the Henderson County Jail with the county judge's authorization to sign. All those in favor of the motion? Item passes. Thank you, Sheriff. Item 5, consider and take action on an amendment to the military policy in the Henderson County Personnel Policy Manual.
I'm requesting that we amend the military policy to be in compliance with House Bill 1589. The changes being made will reflect the addition of up to 7 days of paid disaster leave per fiscal year for employees who are members of the Texas Military Forces, a reserve component of the Armed Forces, or a member of the state or federally authorized urban search and rescue team when called to state active duty by the governor or other appropriate authority in response to a disaster.
This is any of the individuals participating that are called to active duty?
Yes, sir.
And is that 7 days in addition to the 15 days?
That's correct. Yes, sir.
Okay.
So that being a total of 22 days now?
Yes.
Okay. Questions, comments, court?
What have they been doing in the past, having to use their vacation days?
Yes, sir. We would get 15 days, and anything beyond that would be their vacation days.
Well, we know the last year and a half, the role that Texas Armed Services has played in but from testing to vaccinations and everything else across the state. Not only that, your typical hurricane response, disaster response. They're becoming more and more actively used in this present day from what they have been in the past. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion to approve the amendment to the military policy and the Henderson County Personnel Policy Manual.
I'll second his motion.
Motion made by Commissioner McCam, second by Commissioner Spivey. Excuse me. To approve the amendment to the military policy in the Henderson County Personnel Policy Manual. All those in favor? Item passes. Thank you, ma'am. Next, item 6, consider and take action on the addition of a pandemic paid sick leave policy to the Henderson County Personnel Manual. Ms. Beavers?
Yes, sir. So I am requesting that we add this pandemic paid sick leave policy to our handbook to hopefully mitigate the misuse of COVID pay that we are currently seeing. Basically, in this policy, the employees will get a one-time benefit of up to 80 hours for a full-time employee, 100% pay for COVID, or a part-time employee's 2-week hour equivalent at 100% pay if they are out for a COVID-19 positive, a suspected positive employee, employees who have been listed as close party contacts with a COVID-19 confirmed positive person, or employees caring for a child whose school or child care provider is closed or unavailable for reasons related to COVID-19. Once they've exhausted that one-time benefit of full pay at 80 hours or the equivalent to 2 weeks for a part-time employee, it would go to a one-time benefit of pandemic paid sick leave at 2/3 their regular rate. The remaining third would be up to the employee to make up. And in the event that an employee does not have any time available, meaning sick or vacation time, that remaining 1/3 would be unpaid. And then following those two occurrences, if an employee has a third occurrence with COVID, and they've exhausted both the full-time and the 2/3 paid pandemic sick leave, then they would be completely responsible for their time. Meaning they would have to use their sick or vacation. If they don't have it, then it would just be the full duration of the COVID leave would be unpaid. And this does not apply to law enforcement. They are under the House bill. I can't remember off the top of my head which one it is, but under the new House bill, the statute is different for law enforcement. They have to be paid 100% if they are catch COVID while on duty. And that means 14 days, as long as they were working 14 days prior to their COVID positive, then that is when you have to pay them.
You just said 2 words, on duty.
Yes, sir. As long as they were, so 14 days, the statute says while on duty, but we've since done a little bit more research, had a little bit more conversations, and we have learned that they have to be on duty prior to 14 days before receiving their first positive. So if they had worked any time 14 days before they would receive their positive, then we would have to pay them. Because they're going to consider that they caught COVID on duty unless we can prove it otherwise. And then on this pandemic paid sick leave, hopefully if you guys approve it, it'll go into effect today. And dating back from January 1st, 2020, any employee who has any time coded as COVID will count towards the allotment of the hours specified in this policy. So meaning it doesn't just wipe the slate clean and start over. We're going to count at all the time that they've used in the past already.
If we have employees out right now, will their 2/3 start on the 21st?
Yes, sir. It's up to you guys, but I would prefer that, starting on the 21st, we follow the policy if it is approved.
Yeah.
Meaning that if they have already had 2/3 COVID, then we would, all vacation or sick time is on them. If that's something you want to do. Or we could, if you prefer, we could grandfather the ones that are currently out right now, because this policy doesn't go into effect until after it's approved. They can continue to get it, but their next occurrence would follow the policy, however you guys want to do it.
Questions? To give some background to understanding of how we got here today, over the last year and a half, there has been an involvement of policy, given direction from the federal government through being able to request reimbursement. There has been several enumerations of policy, and it has begun to settle into what we presented here, what we've learned over the last year and a half, so that we do take care of the needs of our employees in a fashion that we have previously and have set kind of a standard. But now that we're moving past 18 months, we're seeing that as we move forward, there's only so much that we can actually do. There's a risk no matter what occupation you're in. It's modern times. You can catch flu, you can catch any type of virus through this, but given the extenuating circumstances with schools, with first-person contacts of family members and all that, I feel this is about as far as we can go in subsidizing paid time off. We continue with the first full 100% on 80 hours. We continue with the second 80 hours of 2/3, 1/3. But after that, between vacations, 6 days, and holidays, we already have 30 days, just about 30 days of paid time off, not counting what COVID has brought in. So you're looking at a doubling of what we're putting forth as an organization.
So does every year, the 80 hours,
No, sir.
once you burn your
Once
80
you
hours?
burn- Yes, sir. Once you burn your 80 hours.
And then once you burn your two-thirds
Yes, sir. So this.
from January 1st, 2020
Yes, sir.
going forward?
Yes, sir. So basically, the 80 hours would be for new employees that are coming on who are going to catch COVID. They're the ones that haven't had the 80 hours. Almost the entire workforce has already had it. I'm saying the entire workforce has, but almost 80% at least.
So what about kind of documentation? I mean, I can come in here and tell you or tell
Right.
the department head.
So we're going to request that they give documentation from their healthcare provider.
Is that in this?
It is in here. It's in bold. It's right under the first paragraph.
Matter of fact, I got it highlighted. Okay.
And then I'm also going to request that from the child's school or child's child care provider that they send us some type of note. They have to. Usually, they're going to send some note home to the children, some type of email. I'll take anything like that to prove that their child's school is really close or their child care provider is. Typically, they send something on, so that's how we'll get around the late hearing for a child. And it has to have a date on it. You can't just provide any positive result. I have to have a date.
I think it's a policy that we've got to put in place. We want to make sure that during these times our employees are taken care of, but after we subsidize them twice, the third time will be treated like any other illness where they have to use, their sick time that's allotted throughout the year. So, I mean, just like we've had to make decisions for the last 18 months, if you're on your third time of COVID, you may need to make some lifestyle choices. So, I mean, I think it's something that we need. We want to take care of the employees, like I said, but we also want to curtail any abuse too.
Only other thing I have is if this is passed today, then I encourage you to get with all the department heads and then visit with their employees that this has been changed, and it's a big significant change.
I'm going to send out a memorandum when it's passed.
Okay.
Any other discussion? All right, hearing none, entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion for the addition to the pandemic paid sick leave policy to the Henderson County Personnel Manual.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Spivey, second by Commissioner Richardson, to approve the addition of a pandemic paid sick leave policy to the Henderson County Personnel Manual. All those in favor of the motion? The item passes. Item number 7, consider and take action to impose a burn ban for Henderson County.
Good morning, Court.
Morning.
We talked about this last week. We wanted to see it back on the agenda today. As you can probably see in your backup, right now we're at an average of 601. And remember that 575 is the threshold that we look for when imposing the burn ban. Looking at the forecast for rain, I don't really see anything over the next 10 days. We are going to have some cooler temperatures, but I didn't see anything significant. Dispatch did report to me that we only had one grass fire since last week, so the grass fire count went down. So I would still suggest that we put a burn ban in because we are over that threshold and because we're not going to see any significant rain in the next 10 days. I believe it was Commissioner Richardson that stated last week that, the fuel load that we have out there right now is great. I mean, a big fuel load. And if it gets out of hand, we're going to have a big problem. And again, it taxes the fire departments when they have people out there just trying to burn leaves and limbs and the same stuff that we all try to burn. But if it gets out of control, we can really burn up a lot of acreage. And I just don't want to see it get into anybody's homes or businesses.
Is it, I'm getting confused, 525 or 575?
575. And that's just kind of a threshold that they set to, hey, we need to start looking at burn ban.
Right, I just couldn't remember if it was 25 or 75.
And the problem with Henderson County being so big is that, you know, we got the 499 for a low up at around north of Chandler over there, and then 679 down around precinct 1. That's a big jump, but that 601 average is, if you look at that map there, I know it's on those back up, you can see where that pretty bright orange there. The fire departments that I've talked to, most of them are on board with the burn ban. They just know what's coming. People know what's coming too. They've been calling and asking.
I've had several calls at my precinct, and that's the thing about a burn ban. It's probably one of the things we get most calls on. But so your recommendation is that we go ahead and go with the burn ban,
I do.
and that is also the feelings of several of the fire departments you talked to.
Yes, the fire departments I've talked to are on board with it. And I do that because it's, you know, it's a guessing game for y'all and for me as well, but I just talk to the people that are out there. And y'all, your precinct workers probably see the fuel load out there. I just don't want to gamble on people's property by not having them put in place.
Well, the 575 has been the mark that has been used traditionally, because again, that is the moisture level in the ground, correct?
Correct.
And with that heavy fuel load laying over the top of these drier conditions, it's just conducive to more and more fires. So,
Is it 30 days, or how many days do we?
Traditionally, we have done 14 days. We have done 30, depending just on what the future weather conditions are. We have given it the I prefer the 14-day myself, just because it gives us a window each time that you get to look further ahead on what the weather forecast is instead of just doing a blanket 30-day.
And it is easier for us to take a burn ban off than it is to put it on. The judge can act and take a burn ban off, but it takes the entire court to put it on.
So, if the court did wish to move forward with a burn ban for myself, I'd prefer the 14-day, because the more that we also discuss it at these meetings, the more it gets out. And it's all about the prevention of fire.
Well, I'm gonna go with the suggestion of the fire marshal and the fire chiefs around the county, and I'm gonna move that we place a fire ban in Henderson County for 14 days.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner McCam, second by Commissioner Tooley, to impose a 14-day burn ban in Henderson County. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Item passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 8 is consider and take action on a nominating resolution to the Henderson County Appraisal District Board of Directors for the Board of Directors Place 1. In court, we have Mr. Maurice Cox here today with us. Mr. Cox has represented Henderson County now for 4 years on this board. And we are requesting, I am requesting that we reappoint Mr. Cox to his final 2-year term representing the court, and be happy to answer any questions. Mr. Cox is here. if there's any comments or questions to him. I want to publicly thank him for his service. These positions that are held are unpaid positions, but they are so very important, as we have spoken time and time again about the importance of our appointed positions, because like I said, they take up their time and their talents. Would you sign that, please? So, be happy to answer any questions. If not, entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Spivey, second by Commissioner Richardson, to reappoint Mr. Maurice Cox. Make sure I'm reading it correctly. On the nominating resolution to the Henderson County Appraisal District Board of Directors for place number 1. All those in favor of the motion? Motion passes. Mr. Cox, thank you for your service. We greatly appreciate it.
Thank you.
Item 9, consider and take action to reappoint one member to the Board of Directors to the Natchez and Trinity Valleys Groundwater Conservation District. Court, this is another one of those positions that some of you will remember. It's been, I can't remember when we enacted, 06, 08 was when the Groundwater District was formed. And we have actually 2 representatives on this board. One that is up for reappointment today is Dr. Sam Hurley from over at Murchison. His current term expires December 31st of 2021. And he has been one representing agriculture industry and landowner groundwater supplies in the county. Mr. Hurley's been on it since the inception and has been a fantastic advocate for the protection of groundwater resources within the 3 counties that are in this groundwater conservation district. Are there any questions or comments? If Mr. Foster, Don Foster, is our other representative. As I said, the county has 2, and both of them have worked diligently for the county in these matters. Any questions or comments? Entertain a motion.
So moved.
I'll second the motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Richardson, second by Commissioner McCam, to reappoint Dr. Sam Hurley to the Natchez and Trinity Valleys Groundwater Conservation District representing Henderson County. All those in favor of the motion? Item passes. Item 10, consider and take action to set a public hearing for the updating of guidelines and criteria for granting tax abatement and reinvestment zones in Henderson County. And I was wondering where our county attorney is at. I was hoping he would be here to speak on this. We have updated, or let me back up. These guidelines and criteria are good for 2 years. The last time these were presented was in late of 2018. They expired in late, I believe it was in October of 2022, maybe September of 2020. And for this to continue to be an option for the county to be able to provide to help incentivize growth in the county, we must have these up to date. They must be renewed every 2 years. And what you have presented here is what came out of our discussion of a month ago during a workshop on updating these. Any discussion concerning the guidelines and criteria? Over the years since we had implemented these, I think originally in 15, we have actually exercised the use of them 5 times within the county. It is a very useful tool in incentivizing some growth. You'll see that it has to meet an economic qualification, must be reasonable, expected to have an increase in positive net benefit to the county of at least $3 million. And in the case of new business, $1.5 million. And that is the investment required to even reach the threshold of having this as an opportunity. Of course, there is the $1,000 non-refundable application fee, which we had discussed as being a part of that because it does take quite a bit of review.
We need to set a public hearing for this, is that what we need to do?
We do.
Is there a time limit on how long it's got to be posted for the public hearing?
There is not.
No.
The public needs to, just has to have an opportunity to speak on it. We will make these guidelines and criteria available for anyone's review at the clerk's office in the commissioner's precincts or at here at my office. If anyone wishes to have some insight on them so that they can speak at the public hearing for or against. Any comments? Hearing none, entertain a motion on setting public hearing. If I could suggest in the next week or two, it's up to the court. And do it the 28th or the 5th. How about I suggest the 28th at 9:15?
I'd like to make a motion to set a public hearing, updating guidelines and criteria for granting tax abatements and reinvestment zones on September the 28th at 9:15.
I'll second his motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Richardson, second by Commissioner Spivey, to set a public hearing for the updating of the guidelines and criteria for granting tax abatements and reinvestment zones at 9:15 on the 28th. All those in favor? Item passes. Item 11, receive financial reports. We have none of those today. Item 12 is consider and take action on payroll distributions and accounts cash sheets. We have Ms. Harris with us.
Good morning. I have two bi-weeklies. My first one's bi-weekly 18.
Okay. Questions or comments? Entertain a motion on bi-weekly 18.
I'll make the motion on bi-weekly 18.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner McCam, second by Commissioner Richardson to approve the,
That'd be two. Oh, did you say?
yeah,
I'm sorry. I didn't hear him. I'll turn it on.
yeah, turn your hearing aid up. Motion made by Commissioner McCam, second by Commissioner Richardson to approve the payroll disbursements for bi-weekly number 18 as presented. All those in favor? Item passes. Ms.
We
Harris?
also have bi-weekly 19.
Questions, comments? Entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion to accept payroll distributions for bi-weekly number 19.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Spivey, second by Commissioner Tooley to approve the payroll disbursements for bi-weekly number 19. All those in favor? Item passes. Thank you, Ms. Harris. Item 13 is consider and take action on submitted contracts. We do have one, and this is involving the Kane Center. As many of you know, the Kane Center has been remodeled, and if many of you did not know, county used to use the Kane Center quite a bit for its judicial functions. Many of you will remember that the AG court at one time was held out there monthly. That's now being held at the Henderson County Senior Citizens Building. And it had been used for jury calls and opportunities like that, even some trials that were larger. What we have, this is actually called a sponsorship agreement, and this will gain access to the county for at least 4 free uses and some other items that can be used throughout the year and as a part of even our Healthy County, as you see in the agreement. There's 12 individual memberships that come along with this. And this is actually at a lesser cost than what we had previously budgeted back in the past as to work with the Kane Center. This comes in at $25,000 for 2 years worth of sponsorship, and it actually opens up for more usage at a discounted rate. It is something that I think this particular sponsorship gains us access to the room that is the Civic Center room, which has all of the diocese and all of the electronics and technology available that will be really suited for any use needed by the judicial system. Any questions or comments on this?
Do you remember what we were paying before?
I do. It was $16,400 a year is what we were paying before. And coming in at this cost, of course, that was, 5 years ago, 6 years ago? I feel we're getting a good offering on this, especially in the time of COVID and our judicial COVID policy on social distancing. As you know, when individuals are compelled to be at court, extra precautions have to be taken because, like I said, they are compelled to be there. We have used the Texan. The Texan has worked well, but as the judicial system begins to stretch its legs and we're having more court hearings, there can be an opportunity. We already know that we do not have enough courtrooms to cover every particular court and full schedule, so this allows even that opportunity of being able to have a visiting judge while we are doing other courts as well. Be happy to answer any questions.
Would we be able to use these memberships some way through Healthy County?
If you would, the comments and discussion about the Healthy County, using this in our individual drawings.
So basically our thought with using the 12 memberships in this contract for Healthy County is when we implemented the wellness incentive, there was, the $25 fee if they did not complete it. But anybody who did complete the wellness incentives, their name is going to be put in a hat or random drawer on the internet, and we will then draw. And these prizes, one of the prizes will be the 12 memberships that the Pain Center is going to be providing in this contract, on top of potentially other prizes as well, like we did in last year.
Any other questions? Hearing none, entertain a motion with the judge's authorization to sign.
So, second. Judge's authorization to sign.
Motion made by Commissioner Tooley, second by Commissioner Richardson, to approve the sponsorship agreement with the City of Athens for the sponsorship agreement with the Kane Center, not the City of Athens, sorry, for the use of the Civic Room with the judge's authorization to sign. All those in favor? Item passes. Thank you, Court. Item 14, consider and take action on requests for right-of-way permits. Have none of those. And item 15 is consider and take action on submitted budget amendments.
Yeah, we do have those this week, and this is mainly to clear up the situation we have with sanitation and get that covered hopefully to the end of the year.
Questions on the budget amendments?
So I have a question. Is all sanitation dumpsters dumpsters taken out of sanitation. So does that mean that, let's just say, the annex, the election building?
No,
No.
that's separate. These are just your dump sites.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
that's.
Because
on
when
the
I was looking
building.
through the budget, I didn't see anything in there that showed where,
Yeah, that's charged to each building.
okay.
Right.
Underneath what? Sanitation or building and ground maintenance?
Line,
Well, I didn't see
Maintenance
any.
and grounds.
Right.
yeah, maybe under buildings and grounds, but it's charged to each building. It's
Okay.
not.
Right.
This is strictly just your dumps.
Okay.
Now, this all is Fund 200.
Right.
Yeah.
And hopefully we got this problem taken care of for next year. That's been an oversight on our budget.
Number of
discussions.
years.
We've spent a lot of time on the increase in the profits at the dump, but we hadn't thought to look at the increase in the expenses also. So hopefully we got that taken care of for next year.
We didn't understand you couldn't take the profit and pay the bill right then with
Yeah.
it, so.
Well, and that is something to remember is the huge increase that has happened in usage at these facilities over the last 18 months have really put a strain. We did not realize during budget that it was going to continue at the level that it has. Because I would dare say it went up 30%, I believe, in usage over the last 18 months.
I think people being at home a little bit more, it's cleaning everything up, moving, whatever they're doing, they're cleaning out these older houses or buildings or whatever, but we've had a tremendous increase at the sanitation sites.
Well, and all of them work out of a single fund, and because of that, you have different levels of demand and you have different levels of revenue, with the purpose of being that we break even on these, that being the result, because it is a service that we provide. Because gracious, if we didn't have it, imagine what things would look like around here.
They had a cleanup over in Gun Barrel and Lake area, and we let them bring it all to us. I don't know if they brought any to two, but they brought a bunch to us. We let them dump for free.
That is something the county has been in sponsorship with 1 and 2 with Tarrant Regional about 20 years now, I believe, where they TxDOT will pick up the trash that is gathered by volunteers, and then the county takes and receives that trash, correct?
And we
Yes.
get a T-shirt.
And a T-shirt.
T-shirt.
Been there and done that, right? All right.
I move to approve the budget amendments.
I'll second his motion.
Motion made by Commissioner McCam, second by Commissioner Spivey to approve the budget amendments as presented. All those in favor of the motion? Item passes. Item 16, consider and take action on payment of bills.
Yes, sir, we have paid bills in the amount of $257,453.08.
Commissioner Spivey, questions?
I have no questions, Judge.
Commissioner Tooley?
I have none.
Commissioner McCam?
None.
Commissioner Richardson?
No questions, Judge.
Entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion, approve the bills, the amount of $257,453.08 for fiscal year 2021.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Richardson, second by Commissioner Tooley to approve the bills as presented. All those in favor? Item passes. Item 17 is consider and take action on submitted plats.
No plats.
No plats today. 18 is open and consider bids, and we have none of those. Item 19 is consider and take action to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Commissioner McCam, second by Commissioner Tootley to adjourn. All those in favor? Item passes. Thank you very much for being here with us. We'll take about 10 minutes and then come back for our scheduled workshop.
Hey, Chuck. Hey, I'm on.